had a brief tech issue, but I will start over. I will skip over my intro and just start. All right. My name is Sierra Briggs. I worked on this project with the help of my site supervisor, Terrence Lee, and my faculty advisor, Jason Toft, and the title of it is Surf, Sand, and Sediment, Forage Fish Sediment Surveys as a Case Study for Responding to Insufficient Datum. Oop, that's too early, but it's all right. In order to contextualize my research a bit, I provided some additional information, especially given that, as I found out in talking to my peers, forage fish are quite a niche topic, even within the environmental field, leading to many gaps in knowledge regarding their biology and their habits. Forage fish are very small fish, think a couple inches long at most, that are incredibly important in supporting their food webs. They serve as prey to other fish, most notably salmon, as well as seabirds, pinnipeds, and mustelids, or seals, sea lions, and otters. Existing literature on forage fish states that forage fish are quite picky. This means that their spawning behavior is dictated by characteristics of their habitat like shore slope, elevation, and sediment composition, which is the habitat preference I elected to focus on. However, these habitat characteristics can be altered by human-related factors and activity, the most notable one being shoreline armoring. Shoreline armoring can exist in the form of bulkheads, like walls or boulders, used to prevent coastline erosion, as well as dams, which are primarily implemented in the Pacific Northwest for hydropower energy, a sustainable alternative to traditional energy sources. But dams bring forth their own host of environmental issues. One of these issues is that the presence of shoreline armoring on beaches increases wave energy, meaning that the waves become larger and more aggressive, therefore washing away smaller sediment and leaving larger sediment that is not suitable to the preferences of forage fish. Therefore, my research sought to support existing literature by confirming these spawning preferences, thus filling gaps in knowledge and leading to action being taken to manage and protect these important but underrepresented fish. In seeking to support these claims, I asked, how does sediment size influence forage fish spawning behavior? In order to answer this question, and in working with my host organization, I conducted 2 sediment surveys. This meant making a sufficiently perilous climb down to our sampling site, DuPont Wharf, pictured here in Figure 1, scooping sand into bags, and then making that same climb back up with backpacks now full of wet sand. We follow the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife's processing procedures to go from several liters of sand to what was probably a couple cups. These samples were then analyzed in the lab here at UW to count and identify every egg found within our sediment. I also created a sediment composition profile of each of my 18 samples, meaning that I made a ratio of 4mm to 2mm sediment in order to get a better grasp of roughly how coarse each sample was. Finally, I conducted a literature review of over 10 forage fish-related sources in order to better familiarize myself with these fish and also to get a better understanding of the results I should have been seeing. Figure 2, a scatter plot created from my raw data, shows the incredibly weak relationship between sediment composition and egg count. Despite numerous sources stating that forage fish do, in fact, prefer certain sizes of sediment, my results failed to adequately support this claim. This was likely due to a number of factors: human error, weather patterns altering sedimentation of that beach, and the highly variable nature of spawning, as can be seen in Table 1. Had we been able to conduct more surveys, we likely would have acquired more data and have been able to have seen a stronger correlation between sediment composition and egg count, but due to the time constraints of the Capstone experience, this was unfortunately just not possible. The 4th column from the left here shows my raw egg count split up by individual sample, with Survey 1 being the top 8 rows taken on January 14th, and Survey 2 being the bottom 10 rows taken on February 10th. As you can see here, Survey 2 yielded only 2 eggs total compared to the 17 found in Survey 1. Given this huge discrepancy, it's difficult to formulate a clear or comprehensive hypothesis from this data. Figure 3, 2 photos taken with my iPhone through the thrice magnified lens of a microscope, displays what exactly I was searching for through pounds upon pounds of sand. The photo of the egg on the right illustrates just how small these eggs are in comparison to grains of sand, as well as just how similar they are in appearance to grains of sand. My first takeaway here reiterates the weak relationship present in my data, stating that, given the highly variable nature of spawning, had we completed more surveys, we would have better captured the overall widespread trends of forage fish, opposed to attempting to gauge these same trends within a mere 2 surveys. My second takeaway states that, in my literature review, I found that armored beaches, those with bulkheads or dams, yield significantly fewer eggs than non-impacted beaches. Some texts looked at how the active removal of armoring might affect surrounding ecosystems and found that Specifically in the case of the Elwha Dam, despite negative environmental occurrences during dam removal, it was worth it in the long run, as egg counts have skyrocketed from their previous levels. Going forth from this project, I want to iterate the importance of getting involved with local organizations like the Nisqually Reach Nature Center, as your participation and support aids these organizations in being able to conduct research that supports vulnerable populations like forage fish. Additionally, shoreline armoring needs to be addressed in both local policy and national legislature. The presence of bulkheads in dams poses issues far beyond the scope of forage fish, and environmental resilience is limited by both our action and inaction. So educate your peers, get involved, and make your influence known. I would like to extend my deepest thanks to my site supervisor, Terrence Lee, my faculty advisor, Jason Toft, and of course, my family and friends for not only supporting me through everything, but listening to me talk endlessly about all things fish and sand. Thank you. And then questions. And that's all. I will try to talk slower day of. Oh, I'm still recording.